I can't see you. You would think so, huh? I'm good. Brother, I'm good. I mean, I don't know how many times I gotta tell you I'm great. It's my pleasure. All you have to do is ask, bro. All you have to do is ask. I'm your dude. It's all good. Yeah, we had a great golfing game. Although it wasn't, it wasn't the full 18. Just got a little frustrated over these slow pokes in front. But I thought our session after the fact inside of the, I guess I don't know if we call that a bar or whatever that is. I thought that was a great. I always enjoy, and this is really what I enjoy about golf too. It is it's that ability to have conversations, uninterrupted conversations, and it was a great time. I loved it. They get offended they get offended if you call it a bar. Yeah. Yes. Yes. I this is my real honest answer is that I think it's a gift. I think if there's ever an industry or an opportunity to disrupt how currently you're doing things or you're running your business or running your life, um, anything that disrupts that and causes you to and forces you to change, I'm a big fan of that. So I think this is just another. I'm sorry, but I think it's a gift. I think that it allows for all the slag to be scraped off the top of the melting pot, and what's left is true and honest um, uh, dealerships, and I'm talking about dealerships specifically, to remain. So I think it's correct. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I I embrace it. I'm sorry, but I absolutely love it. I mean, let me explain why. It's because it for what it is. It's a reset button, and it doesn't matter whether you have $10 million in the bank, $20 million in the bank, or $10,000 in the bank. It creates an even playing field for absolutely every individual out there to only because it's never happened before. We've never seen this landscape before, and it's just another opportunity to see how you can survive and thrive in this type of environment. I honestly, I'm sorry, but I love it. Yeah, I'd love to answer that question with what difference does it make? What difference does it make? Your opinion about it, my opinion about it, your neighbor Bob's opinion about it, is not going to change a thing. What are you going to do today? That's the only thing that matters. What are you going to do today? And quite frankly, what happened, how it was yesterday, that might not be effective today. And that's, I guess that's probably what I enjoy the most is that fresh perspective. It's almost like a brand new set of eyes. You get to view what's going on, and um, it's a wonderful opportunity. Yeah, yeah, yes, exactly. That's exactly it. That's exactly it. We're creating potatoes, man. We got to figure out how to make that deal work. I from my earliest memories, Herman, I never forgot this quote. Only because it's just perspective on how you see things, right? It's how I sell cars, by the way. I sell perspective. I don't necessarily sell metal, but the idea is that I once cried because I had no shoes until I met a man who had no feet. The fact of the matter is that because you think you have it tough, it really has no bearing on it. I mean, what are you gonna do? That's what I want to know. Who gives a shit? Okay, this is the hand you're dealt with. Now what? What are you going to do now, big boy? All the smack you've been talking, we're left with this moment right here. And everybody's looking to you, maybe, to have all the answers. Now what? That's right. I just kind of pulled back because I my the way I work is I work on targets the best. I don't necessarily like to have multiple different things. It works for some people, but I found for me it's just not the most effective. I need to stick to one thing and do the one thing until I get the one thing done. And I'm not done with the one thing. So my one thing is I made a promise to the owner of the dealership that I'm currently lucky to be working at, and I said, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and see how far this thing called potential. I want to see where the lid's at. I want to take it as far as I can, and God bless him. I'm just encouraged by the fact that he allows me to run it my way. And right or wrong, I'm sure we're going to make some mistakes, but it's been very successful for us, and I need to be wholly fixated on that, um, and I need my people to understand, and because I'm the example, so I want my people to understand that I'll go first. So I made it about them and only them and what we do, and it's been wonderful. It's absolutely been wonderful.
Right on, man. So biggest lesson, just for let's say that there's listeners out there that are kind of in your situation, right? They're transitioning. whether it be to management or just, taking reins of a store. First 90 days, biggest lesson for you?
Okay, this is a big ball answer. I mean, you gotta, and if you're a woman out there, I'm sorry, that's literally how I feel about it, though. But this is gut check moment. You've got to own the space. You, it, the bottom line is you're going to be responsible for the actions and decisions that you make. You might as well make the biggest ones that you possibly can. I think that what my gift, whatever it is, the way my mentality works is that I've always viewed wherever I've been at as if if this were my place, if I actually own this thing lock, stock, and barrel, what can I do about that? And this is why I believe in it starts in for the simple stuff. It's the little things make all the difference. Picking up garbage around on the lot, just making sure things are in their right spot. Um, uh, just to answer your question is just own your space, make decisions like you own the whole thing, lock, stock, and barrels, and just don't be afraid to try to do it your way. Um, the you hear that people talk about you know um, don't ask for permission, ask for forgiveness.
Mm.
That's literally how I think about it, and that's how I run my life when it comes to the automotive industry. It's been good so far. We'll see. Maybe it's going to knock me down the peg, but what we've been doing is wonderful. And I want to give a plug out to Sean Welsh. His Carbiz done better. He's been a complete asset for us. Um, and having the knowledge base on how to attack this the automotive landscape. So I believe in resources. I believe in what's his long-winded answer, but I believe in creating assets that I don't necessarily have to know all the answers, but I need to know people that do. I need to know people that do, and trust in their. Solely it's my decision on whatever it is, but I love a lot of information. I love a lot of input. I ask for a lot of input. I ask a ton of questions, and then ultimately I make a decision with a caveat is that I'm willing to adjust fire if necessary.
Yeah, dude. A couple things there that I want to touch on, but the main thing there that you said was, you don't have to know everything. You
Yeah.
just got to know the people that do. And I think as we go deeper, I don't know if that's the right setup, but yeah, as we go deeper in technology, right? And we have all these new widgets and tools and data and information. I think that the expectation for a leader, for a GM, should be not to become an expert of all those things, right? But rather, to your point, um, get the people that know that, right? Because that's not your job, right? You're not there to read spreadsheets and interpret data, right? You're there to manage the team and lead a team and those things. And so, what do you think about that, man? Do you think that there's an unfair expectation for GMs in the automotive industry as it sits today, or do you think that GMs make that themselves by trying to take on too much and maybe not relinquishing or delegating effectively?
Everybody wants to have the credit for great things that happen. I think the mistake people make is that wanting to own that credit. I would much rather give the credit to somebody else. I believe in empowering people. If I put somebody in a position, um, I expect them to try different things. And quite frankly, I tell them coming in, hey, look, I expect you to fall down because that tells me that you're trying new things. And that's the only way we get to exist is by trying to adapt to change. To every day you got to be in it to look at the landscape and see how I can dominate today. Because that's what it is. It's about today. Yesterday ain't coming back, man. And I believe in giving credit to those that are willing to do those things. I'm not looking for the credit. I can give a shit how we're successful, man. I just want to be successful. That's it. That's I don't care about titles or positions or any of that stuff. Because if we're going to be effective, and quite frankly, I've been at those dealerships. I've been doing this deal for, my golly, Herb, 20 years now, right? And I can think back over my lifetime as far as the automotive mindsets and the GMs and the owners. Quite frankly, um, I think the separator for me is that everybody was looking for credit, but more important than that, everybody's looking to make the quick buck.
Mm.
No, everybody's looking to do something that's only lasts 30 days. I don't want to exist 30 days. I want to exist in 10 years. I want to exist in 20 years. What I do today, and it's quite frankly, let's talk about this because on the golf course, you asked me a question about we're doing an event for our small community. What is the return you're going to see on that? I have no idea, but there's no wrong way to do the right thing. If in fact we've made the commitment to the community is going to give something to us, their money, allow us to keep in business, continue to be in business, then I owe responsibility to give back to them. When somebody's in need or hurt or pain and we can assist, you know what we're going to do? We're going to assist.
Well, listen, I think we differ there, and let's talk about that a little bit. It's
Okay?
just good to have a little healthy debate. I agree. Listen, and I think that car dealerships in particular are very good at, um, kind of getting involved in the community, and it's all done for the right reasons. There's no question about that.
Are you sure?
For the most part, the ones that I've worked with and I've seen, I mean, I'm not listen, and it's all about perspective, right? Because what maybe the right reason for some is to just do it to do it, and for others is to do it to help, but at the same time get brand recognition. For me as a marketer, I think that you should, listen. It's good to do good, like you said. There's no wrong way to do the right thing. Um, but you got to tie it back to the business somehow. There's got to be some sort of tie into the
Why?
business
Why?
because you have a fiduciary responsibility to your employees and to your owner and to the people that work there, and that's that. For leaders, that should be the main focus, right? Like, it's
It's
okay to be business selfish, right, in the sense that you got to take care of you first, and by you I don't mean you as the individual, but you as the store.
yeah.
You know what I
Well,
mean?
I'm not talking about a I'm not talking about a potluck or a hot dog cook-off. I'm talking about where we get to a charity. I'm talking about charity.
Sure.
I don't. The fact of the matter is, whether we get recognition for doing something or not, it doesn't belay the fact the overlying reason why is because it's the right thing to do. That's my only point. For this specific event, I don't care who gets the credit. I don't care whether we get credit or not. It's the right thing to do, and and quite frankly, it builds the right type of mentality for your future customers too, for your future market. It allows them to view you as more humanistic and not necessarily about moving the metal and profits. Oh my God,
Sure.
make a dollar. It allows you to say, hey, listen, I'm tied into this community. I can see somebody suffering. I want to do my small part, our small part, in making a difference in their life. That's the only reason why. So I mean, maybe there's a disconnect in you understanding exactly what we were after, but I don't give a shit if we get recognized for this or not. It is the right thing to do, and recognition is it's not even part of the deal, bro.
Sure, sure. No, and I don't, just to clarify, I don't mean recognition in the sense that, oh, look at what you did, but there should be some sort of, and I think you guys do it in a way that I know that that's not your intent, but I think it happens organically, which is great, because I've been to your event and you get people to be at the dealership. It's not about selling cars; it's all about providing an experience, right? Which is cool. But they are at the store, so there's that tie-in and recognition that way. And I think this year in particular, it'll probably be even more successful, just because I think that people are just looking for things to do, right? And this is
Yep.
it's a distraction
Yep.
to all the noise that's out there right now. So But yeah, listen, man. No, I agree. I mean, I agree that that we disagree in that sense, and that's okay. You know what I mean? Like,
It's
you
okay,
know,
bro. You're the marketer that works for the man. I'm the man. It's all
yeah.
right, bro. It's
There
all
you
right.
go. Yeah. So, so how have you been doing? Because I know you guys have been, and you know, you gave Walsh a shout out. You know, that dude is something else, no question about it. How have you been doing with everything from the automotive perspective, dude? With everything happening this year, especially for you, I'm very interested to hear you kind of your perspective because you're such a positive dude, and you're always looking for the way to win amongst all issues, right? Like we were talking about earlier.
Mhm.
So how's it been, man? And kind of what's your 50,000 view or message, if you will, for other leaders out there?
Um, well, people. Welsh asked me yesterday. He said, "Well, how'd you finish the month?" And I said, "Really, really good." And I didn't expand on it any more than that. But the fact of the matter is that for the for as long as I've been at the dealership, which is going on 5 years now, last month was the best money month we've ever had.
Wow.
And I think that's just paying attention and looking for new ways to acquire inventory. I've learned that as long as I can put the right inventory in the hands of my peoples, man, they move it. They absolutely move it. So I'm fixated. It takes up probably 80% of my time finding that right inventory. I again, we have so many different things going on, but I give that stuff away to other people to run it as they see fit, and that's just it's been effective. It's very very effective and working very well for us. So we're doing really well, and I'm very appreciative of it.
Any particular strategies that you've done with the COVID situation, like going to people's homes to do test drives, that sort of thing, going outside of the brick and mortar and doing things more. I hate when we say digitally because
Right.
nobody's really buying the car over the internet. There's still an in-person interaction there. Um, so are you doing things like that, or has it pretty much been business as normal and just getting your message out there?
Yeah, I think we've gained traction because we haven't altered anything. Really doing the same things we'd offered before, but um, whereas maybe folks were thinking that we weren't willing to do the things that we said we were willing to do, they're finding out that yeah, we are, and we've been grateful to have the results because of that. So we're doing what we said we're going to do, and folks are actually asking us to do those things even more, and it's we're good, bro. We're very very good.
Yeah, dude, isn't it crazy, Eric, that just 7 months ago, and I just did a podcast with Cameron Cresswell. He invited me onto his podcast, and we were talking about this, and I've been thinking about this in my mind, but that was the first time that I actually vocalized this thought.
Yeah.
And I'd love to get your perspective on it. But isn't it crazy that 7 months ago, if you did the things that you're doing now, picking up customers' vehicle for service, offering hands-off, service options, going to their house to pick them up, drop them off for a test drive, that sort of thing, was a complete differentiator. 7 months ago, it was like, dude, if you did that, you were standout amongst your competitors because nobody was willing to do those things. Today, if you're not doing those things or a variation of those things, you're missing the ball. You know what I mean? You're not even in line with the average, right?
Yeah.
Um, and so it just, to me, that's such a beautiful thing because think about what that's doing for the industry right now. You know what I mean? Change by itself is going to happen no matter what. External factors come into play and all that stuff. But growth is something that you choose to do, right? It's something that you choose to put yourself in that position. And I think that a lot of the leaders and the decision makers in the industry right now are putting themselves in that position to look at their business differently. And so when I think about a year, 2 years from now, man, dude, that just, to me, that seems like it's going to be a very, very interesting landscape, man. What do you think about that? Do you agree, disagree?
Of course, I agree. I think that 7 months ago, we were at a trend where, and I'll talk about new car manufacturers. New car manufacturers were, um, if we can think back 7 months ago, new car manufacturers were kind of moving to the trend where I've always talked about, where they were kind of being very dismissive to the dealerships and um, recognizing the actual value of what a dealership is. I think um, um, they were caught up in probably thinking up a different way of how to restructure the business in order to benefit the manufacturer. But I think in today's landscape, they recognize the actual value of the dealership. Um, I was reading numbers today where they were talking about how the gross profit on new cars. I'm talking new cars only because they can't control the actual cost for used cars. But new cars, I think it was they said a year ago the average new car front end gross averaged about $400 a vehicle, and now
Jeez.
it's just over $1,000 a vehicle. I mean, that's 150% move in the right way, right direction. So I think what that allows to have happen is I think it's a new conversation that manufacturers get to have back with dealerships again in order to maintain the relationship. I think with lowering of interest rates across the country, it allows for new flooring opportunities. So I think there's just a lot of things that are set up for um, dealerships and listen, by and large, let's understand the genius of where I work is that we're just small enough and just big enough that we can exist with a small, very precise group of personnel, and we can change on a whim. We're not a 600 unit business where we have to volume. Man, I got to sell 30 cars today. I got to sell 30 cars today. We just don't exist in that plane. So I think I think this situation specifically allows for a new conversation to happen between dealerships and manufacturers. That's my opinion.
Yeah. No, I totally agree, dude. I think you're spot on a lot of those points. When it comes to grosses, do you think that that's going to remain, or you think we're going to go back to the no money game?
I think honestly, I think this the conversation that or the guessing that we can have today is really not going to be effective because I think a year from now it's a whole
Mm,
different landscape from an automotive perspective. So I'm not smart enough to be able to foresight that. I don't know. The honest answer is I have no idea because I think the real fallout will start happening probably October and next year. This time next year, let's have this conversation again. Let's see if I show up if I'm still here.
yeah. Oh, for sure, man. I like what you said there right now because I think that we forget to look at the real numbers just because of um, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not real success. And here's what I mean. When you talk to every dealership and everybody's had record months, that's not that's not real. You know what I mean? It just doesn't make sense in business. And then you look at the SARS number, and I haven't really seen anybody talking about that. At one point, we got as low as 8 million units, dude, from 16, 17 million. I think the last time I looked, I want to say for June, we were at 13 million. So any way you look at that, that's less car deals. It's just less car deals. I mean, yes, of course, used cars are doing more, and there's inventory shortages on the new side. But think about what that represents for the dealership. And I put this out on my top 5 videos that I was doing for the first 90 days of this, and just sharing with everybody. And it was a very interesting situation where we had all this pent up demand, and the manufacturers had all these incentives, and they were going to get buyers to go out into the market, but there was no cars. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that within itself is a challenge. And then now, if you didn't buy cars back then, when I put that out and was advising dealers to do that, and you waited until like just a month ago, you were screwed, right? Because the prices were so inflated. Now you're going to get into a situation where a lot of dealers are going to buy inventory that's heavy, and they're going to be caught in some very interesting situations, unfortunately. And so, and then to add to that, your comment right now, if I understand what you were kind of alluding to, I think things are going to get a little bit worse here before they get better, just because people are out of work, stimulus money goes away.
Better believe.
Um, yeah, and everybody's just riding the wave of, oh, record month, record month, record month, and we're not thinking about, hey, what can I got to get proactive here, because shit's about to hit the fan. You know what I mean? So do you agree with that statement? Do you think that things are going to get a little bit worse?
Absolutely. When the stimulus checks run out, brother, we're gonna find out really
Who's who?
who's who, bro. Now you really have to learn how to roll with the punches because it's twofold. It's the you've got to be able to sustain and then try and profit too. So I mean, it's this we're not there yet. We're not back on solid ground. This is not solid footing. This ain't it. This is not it. All we've seen from this small wave is that people were told to stay inside, and now that they can come outside for the most part, businesses are. When I say businesses, I'm talking about automotive dealerships. Dealerships are successful because folks are allowed to come outside. But what happens when the stimulus money runs out? What happens when the folks that were laid off temporarily are laid off permanently?
Permanently.
Now, that's a whole different game. That's a whole different game. This is not it. These questions that we have today, the answers we give today, has no relevance on how it's going to be a year from now because that, my friend, that's the eye opener.
Yeah, that's going to be the
How,
real
I
the
mean,
real
how,
truth.
how good are you? How good do you really think you are? Because all this bullshit talk, nah, bro. Come see me in a year when
Hmm.
you're smacked in the mouth for real, and you have members that are in your family that are smacked in the mouth for real. Now what? You think it's tough now? Stop it. It's embarrassing. This ain't tough.
Yeah, no, dude, I agree, and it makes me very, very nervous, man. Because look, I don't want to be the doom and gloom guy, but I see a lot of that. I've seen it on social media, just even with my own dealers, man, that I consult with. I hear that those statements of, oh yeah, record month, record month. It's been awesome. Grosses are up. This is amazing. And I'm like, dude, yeah, you gotta be careful.
This ain't it, dude.
Uh,
And here's the deal. This is what made me think about this when I was driving home the other day after playing golf. Whooping your ass, by the way. It,
you always
it's
gotta throw that in there, man.
yeah, it's
And it's
important.
not even true, but okay.
Stop your crying. The fact of the matter is, that what makes me think about this is that we all management ownership down. I think we'd have a much better perspective if we actually existed on pay plans that paid on yearly bonuses versus 30 days because everybody seems to want to live within the 30-day windows. It's not effective long term. I mean, it allows dealership to get absolutely stupid, crazy, doing ridiculous thing within the 30-day windows versus where they should be thinking yearly. They should be thinking yearsly. They're not recognizing. It doesn't allow for forecasting. It doesn't allow for future conversations. I'm so tired of these guys that are willing to do stupid shit um, for the month, but not really keeping it in perspective for the year. I mean, they'll whore out cars for as fast as humanly possible for this month and maybe next month, but they're not thinking long term. So I mean, I think again, I love the idea that this reset allows for all of us to have. We just we gotta sit down, look ourselves in the mirror, and say, "Hey, man, now what?"
Yeah, dude, no, for sure. So, kind of moving things along a little bit. You talked about earlier about we were talking about leadership, and I kind of wanted to circle back to that because I think now more than ever that needs to be a pressing conversation. Um, what's the main thing that you, as a leader, that you're doing right now that you want to ensure that no matter what is paramount on a day-to-day basis for you? Because I'm sure that it could be easy for people to get discouraged, nervous. Maybe not so much in our industry because things have been, for the most part, on an uptrend. But just with everything in general going on, dude, like that's another thing that I don't hear a lot of content out there on. But I think it's important for us to kind of have some strategies to foster our employees, foster their growth, especially in the automotive industry, because the management reputation is not the best. I mean, quite frankly, you know what I mean? And so I think this is a prime opportunity for us to improve on that, you know what I mean, from within. So what would you say, like, do you have any advice or share just how you view that, like your employees right now during the situation, and what can you do to just keep them positive, you know what I mean?
I I work the hardest with a huge smile on my face. You've got to set the example. You've got to be the one that's willing to do the most. And look, sometimes that's not the nicest of jobs. I mean, if it's cleaning cars, it's cleaning cars. You just got to make sure, because that all that stuff adds up. And when you're talking with a team of people, all those things add up in their mind. Is like, man, this guy's willing to do what I wasn't willing to do, or what? How can I be so down when this guy's pumped up, fired up, coming every single day? I mean, I think more importantly, because there's a total difference between leadership and management. So there's not those don't necessarily work out to be the same. I've seen leadership from sales staff that management was not. I mean, you you embrace those folks that are actual real leaders, and you know what you do. You have them, you invite them into a room, and you ask them their opinion, because that attitude permeates the crowd, man. That's important. So that's what you do, and all you have to do to recognize who the leader is that when you get them in the room and everybody's talking and everybody's paying attention to one or two different individuals, those are the folks you want to call up to the front and say, "Listen, what's your opinion on this?" Because that attitude, um, as long as it's a winning one, you've got to keep the attitude of your people up. You got to fight for it. You lose that, you're just screwed, man. You're
Yeah.
just screwed. You got to fight for that.
You got
Because
to make it a priority, dude. That's the thing. Like a lot of leadership, a lot of the leadership within the car business, and I understand the reasons, right? I mean, there's just so much going on all the time. Um, but dude, you got to make that a priority. You got to make sure that you focus on your people, man. You know what I
well,
mean? And just, I think that goes a long, long way. Um, do you foresee changes, dude? Like permanent changes from these this sounds like a dumb question, but let me elaborate on
there's
that.
no such thing. Bring it.
Yeah. So do you foresee these changes sticking? You know what I mean? Because I that's one of the other things that I'm still kind of on the fence. A couple months ago, I was like, no, man, like people are they're taking this whole thing about the new normal way too far. And now I'm a little bit more like 50-50. Well, there's some things that are going to change, but what I see now is the customers demanding these things in the future. And if they demand it, then you kind of have to accommodate, right? Do you see that too? Do you see customers getting used to the way that we're doing business now and how accommodating we are, and then expecting those things? And then what do we do as a dealership to make sure that we meet that for them?
Herb, this is the reason why we started the podcast in the first place, because I believe so strongly in that. I believe you need to serve your community. I believe you need to serve your customers so well that allows you to sell cars on the side. That is literally how I think of
Ooh, I
it.
love that.
If you cannot figure out a way to be of service to your community of folks, they're going to move around your ass, and they're going to go to the one of the big boys out there who will deliver a car right to your back door, and they'll just move right around you. I'm sorry, that's just the truth. If you have no relevant way of remaining a fixture in their mind, that they can rely on you, maybe when it's not comfortable, by the way, that they can rely on you, and you don't have to necessarily. It just has to be fair, by the way. Okay, it's got to be fair for them and for you. That's my number one speech to folks when I'm talking to them is, hey, look, folks, I'm sorry, but the fact of the matter is that I want to be fair. That's the bottom line. I there's no need for me to lose money. There's just none. There's no viable reason. I want to remain relevant to you in the future. I'm not looking to sell you the one car. I'm looking to sell you all the cars. I don't that there's nothing in it for me. But you've got to be fair. I've got to be fair. I've been more than fair. This is why we stuck the money in this vehicle that we did. This is why you'll come back to us 3 years from now, which is national.
Mhm.
You come back to us and you want to do it again because we're a ball, man. And it turns out that we sell a nice product too. So I
Yeah.
believe that service is paramount. You'll be found out. I just, brother, that's what excites me the most. Is I love the fact that you get found out right now today whether that plan of whether they're just a volume notch or they're just another little notch on the window, the little X on the window you got for them, or you're really a relevant part of their life. I love that aspect because people are going to get found out and they're going to get killed off, which is
Which is what you should happen.
which is exactly the way it's supposed to work. By the way,
Right. Yeah, exactly. No, I love that. I love what you said there about, the future sell. I think that you should always be selling the future, the next vehicle purchase, not the one that you're doing today. So I love that. That as a salesperson, that makes sense to me.
yeah.
Um, Dude, this has been awesome, man. I really appreciate you taking the time. It's been nice to reconnect with you. I want to kind of go off script and just talk about a couple just random things here. I know you're an avid reader like myself. Any good books lately? Anything that
God,
you can share?
I love to always revert back to anything Maxwell puts out, but I love Goggins for the mentality of.
Dude, that guy's a beast, man. He's not
And the
human,
fact of
dude.
the matter is, I promise you, this is a dude that is not. You're not going to find him cowering in a corner. He's actually embracing these things because he understands that you just get found out whether you're prepared or you're not. You just get found out, and the bitching does no good.
Yeah.
It's about today. What are you going to do today, sucker? You know what I mean? That's the whole point.
Dude, that guy isn't human, man. He's got to be some sort of an alien or some shit, dude. He's ridiculous. It's crazy. Um, I know you were in the service, but you Marine or
I was a cook in the Air Force, bro. Let me tell you
Air
something.
Force? Okay.
I was a cook in the Air Force, but I was a super troop. I loved, being just being a country boy from Montana. The military. When people ask, "Were you ever in the military?" Nope, I was in the Air Force. But being in that military lifestyle, um, it was the first time where I was told that if you do this, this is exactly what you're going to expect. This your hair's got to be in such a way, your military your uniform's got to be in such a way, and I embraced it. And brother, if things hadn't turned out earlier in my life, I who knows? I just I have I love the military. I absolutely love that whole mindset. I'm so appreciative of folks that are willing to go and sacrifice for our life. And quite frankly, through the military, um, and being sent overseas, it was the first time I realized that what a gift we have as a country. People don't understand what difficulty is until you go somewhere else and you find out that, oh, you know what, maybe I got it okay. Maybe my life's not so bad. I
Yeah.
stubbed my toe today, and there's really no need to bitch about that deal.
Oh
Um,
yeah, for sure. I think we lack perspective in this country. I think Gary Vaynerchuk says it best. He's like, when your biggest problem is that you didn't get extra whipped cream on your $5 latte, and that sets you off wrong for the day, you know, shit ain't right. You know what I'm saying?
I,
And I totally agree with that.
I do.
So I know you're a very disciplined dude, man. Like you are always up at like 4 o'clock in the morning. You know what I mean? Like constantly you're working out and you're on top of your shit. Were you always a were you always like that, or is that something that you credit to your experience in the service?
I'm not pausing for effect. I'm trying to really go through it in my head. Where um, I think I have to credit my discipline in that area, and it's about habits.
Sure.
Is through reading. I recognized when I was in Anchorage, Alaska, as a cook. I was fresh out of the Air Force. I was still a cook in the Air Force, or still a cook in a place called Double D's. I don't know if it's still open or not. It was in Anchorage, Alaska, and I'm walking home because I like to do that, and I was smelling like grease again. And I said, you know what? This lifestyle is not where I want to be. And I'd known from through books, through listening to other people who are successful, is that I got to figure out how to do something different. I've got to change my habits if I want different results, and I got to be the first one to change those things. So, I mean, I think that habitually finding out things that work for me specifically, my life is based on things that work for me specifically. I do me. You do you, because I'm sure shit gonna do me. So I do these things that I'm religious about going to bed. I head to the back about 8:30. I'm zonked out by 9. It upsets some people in the family, but hey, I gotta stay true to me. And I'm up at 3:30, 4:30, somewhere in there. Go to the gym. It's about starting the day, man. If I can, it's just like starting the month. I've got to make sure that I control the first part of the day, or I'm screwed for the rest of the day. Because guilt is very easy for me. If I haven't done my part, then it weighs on me heavily.
Yeah, I liked what you said that right now because I think a lot of times the message, especially now with social media and all the different, gurus out there, I think that they talk a lot about, well, the routine and this is what you do. You do this and this and this. And that to me, that doesn't make sense because maybe this, and that doesn't fit for me. So that what does that mean? That I'm screwed? I'm never gonna get to that next thing because I can't do those things or those things don't fit with my lifestyle or I don't think that it's as important to get up early, even though I do it myself, just because that's my routine. But I don't think that it's as important as people talk about. I think how you wake up is important. You know what I mean? You know?
It's more important to talk about the result. Hey, listen, this is the result I'm looking for. I don't give a shit how you get there, but this is what we expect from you. This is the result we expect. However you get there, whether it's you do it in the morning, you do it in the evening, however works best for you. You've got to do you. I love fanning the flame on folks that are passionate about something, and they do them. I don't have to understand them. I just want. I'm a big fan of people that are fired up about doing something. I'm a big fan of that.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Actually, yeah, man, you were the one that kind of pushed me to start my own deal. You know what I mean? So,
We
thank you
worked
for
out very
that.
well. We, you,
Yeah.
you, we were equally pushing.
Yes, for sure. But yeah, dude. So I appreciate that aspect. What you just said right now, I think that makes a whole lot of sense. And I think a lot of people need to understand that, because sometimes, and even some friends of mine, dude, they'll do things because they're reading the latest book and stuff, but you could see that they're miserable. They don't want to do it.
Right.
They can't hit the target, so it just screws them up because they feel like, oh shoot, I failed. I'm going and that consistent failure mindset sort of a deal. But no, I think that adjust it to your lifestyle and do the things that work for you that get you pumped up. You know what I mean? Because ultimately, what it comes down to is attitude and the way that you feel. You know what I mean? because that's going to translate. That's what's going to translate. You know what I mean? So if you have a way or a system that works for you that gets you pumped up and gets you to feel like $1,000,000 every day, and that you carry that attitude out into the world, I think that that's what's going to get you the results. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, your attitude definitely translates into how you feel, I believe. But yeah, I'm right on point with that. Yes.
yeah. Um, what else, man? Is there anything? Do you recommend? Like I said, I know you're a reader. Do you recommend that? Is that something that? Where did you pick that up? Because a lot of people don't read, dude. Like last year, I did 63 books. The year prior to that, I did about 50, 51. I barely missed the book a week, sort of a challenge. And then, I spend a lot of time in the car. So when I say read, I consider audiobooks. I lump up audiobooks into that category. But where did you pick that up? And what does that do to you, man? Like, what do you get out of that?
Yeah. Okay, so let's define, because if I'm looking for like a specific source of information, I'll read a book. But for the most part, I get most of my education through podcasts. I get most of my information through YouTube. There's so much university type of education that's available to us through YouTube, through these podcasts, wherever. I'm always immersed in information. I like to take input on things that make me think. So it might be something that's uncomfortable, but I like to know different ideas. My mind needs to be challenged. I mean, I need different ways of thinking about different things, and but it's more important, especially if it's uncomfortable to hear, because it causes you to listen more. Because sometimes it causes you to listen better. So I like receiving information that causes you to lean forward, to really catch it is what they're saying. So I'm a big fan of taking in information. Uh, so I get it from multiple different sources, bro. I think it's absolutely important. I know a lot of people in life that just kind of get to the point. Well, I made it through school. Whoo! I'm done with that deal. Let's
Never
move on.
again.
Yeah, that that
Never
that
again.
that plan did never work for me, and I know this is that I wouldn't be anywhere close to where. Well, it's not to say that I'm anywhere, but I wouldn't be at the gifts I have in my life without having being open to receiving new information wherever that sources come from. So I love to talk to people. I love to get intimate details from folks. Um, I want to receive more information. That's really what I appreciate the most about you, is that you're just a tremendous thinker, and I like folks that challenges my own way of thinking, because it allows us to learn, bro. It allows us to learn. At the end of the day, if you're not if you're not growing, you're dying. That's really what.
Well, that's what we're here to do, right? In my opinion, we're here to learn and grow. That's the whole point of the journey. Otherwise, you know, we're animals. You know. Dude, again, we're going to an hour in this deal. Thank you so much for doing this, man. I really, really appreciate it. So there's one question I ask everybody. You've said that question. We've answered that question from you like so many different ways on the show. So we won't do that. But but tell us about Erik's future, man. Like, where do you see yourself here? Let's say within the next year, right? Because everything is so up in the air, like you said earlier. Like, to try to make any sort of assessment right now is really, I don't want to say irresponsible, but like it's so crazy right now that who knows? Everything could change tomorrow, right? So, what do you in a year, Erik? What are you up to?
I'll be leaner because I'll be working more, but my nails will probably be shorter from trying to hang on to whatever footing we can. I mean, I'm going to be hanging on by fingernails, because this next year will be a proving ground for um, you know, are we allowed to continue the year again, another year, another year, another year? So I think this year specifically, I'm fired up, bro. You'll see a big smile on my face. Um, I just I love. I look so forward to this year coming up, brother. I can't even begin to tell you. I'm so excited for the chance to contribute, brother. I'm so thrilled, excited, pumped up. You have no idea. I don't sleep at night because I get fired up about the day. Um, I I'm gonna be a leaner, meaner version of me, and hopefully I have a number in my head I want to be at dealership wise, but we're gonna be. Hopefully, we're here next year. That's the bottom line. I think we will be, but I just want to make sure that
For sure, man.
we're paying attention.
Yeah, love it, dude. Hey, man, thanks again for doing this catch up with me. I really, really appreciate you, dude.
I
Um,
appreciate you, brother, man. I do. I really do.
my homie, Erik Nelson, everybody. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. Really appreciate it.